Social media is ruining your potential, and it is taking away from your life every single day. Um, and it's true. You are so focused on social media and things that aren't affecting your life, that the things that actually are affecting your life, like getting a good job and going out and doing good things, or changing your own personal habits or your own personal growth, or all of these are things that you are avoiding simply because you were looking at social media constantly and you've fallen into the rabbit hole that life wants you to fall into. Um, I know so many people that are completely against government officials, they're completely against social media, and they're like, oh, like, or not completely against social media, they're completely against the hierarchy and people above them, or the quote unquote patriarchy. Yet they fall into the social media rabbit hole. They fall into Instagram, needing likes off of Instagram, or following many people on Instagram, or just scrolling through Instagram. They fall into the Snapchat rabbit hole. They fall into the TikTok rabbit hole. But they're like, oh, like I'm against this. I'm against like these government entities. Dude, if you're against like all of those entities, you need to get off of social media, because all you're doing is falling directly into what they want you to fall into. Um, a lot of people haven't learned and haven't realized that they've created entire habits and systems in their lives to fall into social media, to completely fall back into that area. And once you kind of learn that these things are dictating your life, and they're dictating, one, your decisions and the decisions that you make, they're dictating your beliefs and what you believe in, and they're dictating your friends and who you're around. Once you kind of realize that, like, you're like, oh crap, like my whole life is revolving around someone else telling me to believe in something. um you know and I kind of sound like a boomer here. I sound like someone that's like, get off of social media, social media is bad for you. However, there was a point in my life very recently, not even 3 or 4 months ago, where I was completely addicted to social media. I had points in my life where it's like I'm waking up every single day of my life, hopping on Instagram, scrolling for an hour, getting off Instagram, going to Snapchat, texting people on Snapchat, going back on Instagram, going to YouTube, going to TikTok, going to this. Like, the only traveling I was ever doing in my life was from one app to the other. And I think that that's such a horrible way to live, honestly. Um, and I've recently gotten to a point now where it's like I've taken all of those out of my life. The only social media I do have in my life is YouTube. And YouTube actually has an option to remove shorts out of their content feed. So I do that whenever I need to, because I don't want shorts in my life. I think shorts and reels have been a huge dopamine release, and they've been a huge dopamine construct on your brain that completely just removes all feeling. And all you want is that reels, and all you want is this. You know, there's so many habits that you've developed subconsciously because you fall into the social media cycle. You fall into this. You're falling into a political party because of social media. You're falling into someone else's beliefs because of social media. Like, if you can start to create your own thing nowadays, and really like go your own way in life, you'll be so much further than so many people. And we're not even at like the dopamine addiction and like the actual social media addiction part of this. We're just at the basic things in your life that are being controlled by another person, which it is. Now we'll speak on the dopamine addiction. Dopamine addiction is so bad. It is so negative. It's probably worse than nicotine addiction, honestly. I mean, I know plenty and plenty of people that just can't even go one day without taking a scroll, hopping onto Instagram, hopping onto TikTok, hopping onto Reels. They're like, I love Reels. I love Instagram. I was one of those people for years. I mean, you can ask all of my friends. I was on social media. I would send 10, 15, 20 Reels a day, every single day to all of my friends. And it's like, it gets to a point where you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm waking up. This has become a job to me. This has become a lifestyle. I need to wake up, go on social media, scroll for hours. You know, these are blocks that are placed in front of your life so that you do not progress. It is something that has been placed into your life so you do not progress. It is intentionally there to make you falter and make sure that the people that are already wealthy and already have a lot more ahead of you stay there, because now their jobs are way easier. Now all they have to do is take up your attention, which is super easy to get nowadays. Anyone can do it. That's why 5-year-olds are on YouTube and they're on Twitch and they're making millions of dollars because it's super easy to take your attention. Your attention is something that is almost the most important thing in your life. Where you are putting your attention towards is where you are going to make differences, you're going to make changes, you're going to make awesome decisions, or you're going to sit on social media every single day of your life. And it's like, what do you want out of that? I remember there was one day where it's like, what do I want out of this? Where do I want to put my attention? I'm 23 years old, and it's like, I can't keep putting my attention in social media in this area of my life that is constantly taking and taking and taking and taking. It's taking my energy, it's taking my time, it's taking my thoughts away, it's taking my progression, it's taking everything. I mean, everything is gone because I've put my life into social media's hands, right? How about we take out social media, right, and we put in something good? You take out social media, start reading a new book every day. You take out social media, you do 10 push-ups instead. You take out social media and you make a new drawing, or do whatever you want, or add one new thing to your day, or quit one new thing a day. If you can start doing that every day, you'll notice the steps of your life are progressively trending forward. I'm not rich. I'm nowhere near wealth. I'm nowhere near even set in my life, right? But I also noticed that, like, falling down in a social media rabbit hole was just eating and destroying my entire life. If you can learn to develop habits that kind of remove the dopamine effects out of your life, it removes that instant gratification out of your life, and you start progressing towards things that take a little bit more work and a little bit more time, but you start to see better effects out of those. If you can start doing that, then you will certainly see how these things affect and develop your life. And they make things better, and they make things easier, and they give you more than that hit of dopamine. Quitting habits is, a lot of people think it's hard. Oh, it's impossible. I'll never be able to delete social media. I just can't do it. I can't do it. Yes, you can. Like, don't worry about it. It's a lot easier than you think. The only reason it's hard is because you have a million people telling you it's hard. Same thing with cigarettes. The only reason it's hard, that's why they've developed their brands into it's hard to quit smoking cigarettes. Why is the company that owns cigarettes also the company that's telling you it's impossible to quit? Oh, because if they tell you it's impossible to quit, your brain will subliminally, that's not even a word, but your brain will subconsciously pick that up and not follow it. And it'll be like, okay, I can't quit. I can't do this. It's impossible. It's one of the hardest things in the world. So quit while you're ahead, you know, especially younger people. I mean, we have to take over in our lives, and we have to get to a point as a unit where we're tired of the social media gimmick. We're tired of this gimmick of people controlling our lives. We're tired of all of it. You know, I think I'm tired of people controlling my life. That's why I've tried to remove as much of that as possible. You know, I think there's only one person that's ever going to control my life, and that's the big G upstairs. Jesus Christ himself is the guy that is going to dictate where my life is. You know, and if you can do that, you know, you don't need to follow the same God as me, but you do need to follow certain things that will lead you to success. That's the important thing. And if we can do that, you know, and get there as a unit and as a group, then we will be in such a good position in 10, 15, 20 years. There's a lot of things going on in the world. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm very spoiled to be able to sit here and tell you this stuff. But there's a lot of struggles in the world. But the biggest struggle that you're having isn't the world. It is your life. It is you. You are the biggest problem that you have created in your life. And if you can get out of that and stop looking at the world and stop blaming social media and stop blaming all this and stop blaming, you know, Kamala Harris or Donald Trump or whatever you need to blame, if you can stop blaming all of that and just look at what you need to solve and solve it, no matter what, no matter with the circumstances that you are given, which is pretty much what you got to do, then you'll be so much better and so much happier and so much just more fulfilled in your life when you realize that nobody's coming to save you. You got to do it all on your own. That being said, another good day. Glad we could talk. Please like and subscribe. I think I need to say that. Please do, because drop a comment if you disagree with me. I'd be lucky to read it, and have a good one. Alrighty.